Hello and welcome to the Lewis Nichols Show, and I'm really excited for the powerhouse that I've got on the show, because you'll remember last year I interviewed all of the amazing guests on screen individually, all about their careers and of course Two Doors Down, but we have got three on the same call, which Elaine said I might regret this in about 10 minutes. So let's say hello to the brilliant Alex Norton, Jonathan Watson and Elaine C Smith. How are we?
Woo! We're good.
Oh, we're fine.
This
I can only speak for myself.
Moment.
It's what?
It's a pinch myself moment for me. I mean, I was all morning. I've been excited just to have all three of you on the same call. It's unreal. So thank you so much.
Listen, to get the three of us on set is a miracle. Never mind.
So I've got some questions for all of you, and then I don't know if you all remember last year that we had a quiz.
Oh no!
Your characters.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
today we're going to have you against each other to see who really knows Two Doors Down.
Oh.
Listen, I forget each episode. I did an interview yesterday, and we reminded you what the first episode was of the new series.
Elaine and I did a red carpet the other night, and I could only remember my own character's name. Remember?
Oh no!
Listen, I've got my little crib sheet here.
Oh.
You know, I wrote down people's names, but at the bottom of it, it says Eric. Just in case I forget my own bloody name.
That's fantastic.
I mean, we've got to talk about the new series. We're all excited because the last series we had it all in one go eventually on the iPlayer, and it was just incredible. And one thing I noticed in the last series was the characters, the development. We saw a lot of changes, especially with Colin. I mean, he swore a lot more. He was a lot more seedy, especially with Michelle. I wanted to talk
yes.
to Jonathan.
Yes, that wasn't in the script, by the way. Johnny just brought that himself.
What were your thoughts on the development with Colin, Jonathan? Because we saw a completely different side going into Series 5. I mean, it was laugh out loud moments, but did you notice that yourself, that he did become a little bit more fiery, a little bit more seedy? You know, there's a lot more swearing, which Elaine knows that I love. So what were your thoughts on the development?
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't really aware of him being any more seedy than he normally is. I did notice that he swore a little bit more, because it's something that we've got to keep an eye on, don't we, guys? We've got to watch that in the course of the program. But I just enjoyed what I was given, and going into this new series which starts next week. I love the storylines that I was presented with in that as well.
But there was, sorry to interrupt, Johnny, but there always was a wee bit of seediness about.
There was.
He always had an eye for the ladies, and remember we were talking about a backstory that obviously Cathy's the second wife and she's the more the trophy. We don't know all this, we've just made it up. But that idea and the way he is, particularly with Joy's character, that we or any woman in there was always that, thanks very much, doll. That's sort of a guy that really pays attention to women.
I suppose that actually that's a good point, Elaine. The seediness, there was a lot more flirting with Joy in the last series, certainly. So I think that's maybe why you picked up on that, Lewis. So yeah.
I mean, it was the scene that I watched last night, and honestly, I can't watch it without I have tears. It's when you were dancing to the song "I'm Horny." It's the funniest scene I have ever seen. I mean, try
sitting in the room while he was doing that. That was, how many takes did we have to do? That was hilarious.
It's so cringeworthy. I haven't watched it. And my wife, she says mortified when that's. No.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
What I love about it is it's the exact thing that Johnny Watson would never do. And that is
Thank
what
you.
is so fab, is watching Johnny create this monstrous thing in front of us, but go at it like he's a disco diva and he's been doing it all his life. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Obviously, the big shock this series coming into the new series is, of course, there'll be no Cathy. And Colin and Cathy have become such a big double act, almost like Dal and Rodney. When you found out the news that Doon was going to be leaving the show, what were your thoughts? Were you kind of thinking, what are they going to do with Colin? Because it really is a big loss for the show, because she was such a larger than life character. So when you found out that you were going to kind of be losing your second half, what were your thoughts about that?
Well, you know, naturally, I was disappointed to hear that she'd decided to take a break from the program. But I was told pretty early on that I should have no concern about Colin not being in it. And I think, I mean, the guys will chip in with this as well. I think with such a strong character leaving, it opened up a lot of other avenues for the writers, and they got a lot of, you know, a lot of new storylines came up that they might not have had a chance to visit, and so it in a funny kind of way, it's given a little bit of life to the program as well. So
could I say the stuff that Johnny has in the new series is just you thought you were cringing at the last stuff.
That's true.
But the opening up of possibilities, and we all loved Doon, and we're really sad that she decided to go, but it was her decision. There wasn't anything acrimonious or any of that. People always say that, but it wasn't. It was Doon's decision about where she was in her life with her children, her family, and what she wanted to do. And so initially it's a shock, I think, more for Johnny than anybody, but I went, oh my God. I mean, it's not going very, but I think I said to Johnny at one point, well, you know, there's just going to be a picture of a Thai bride over Cathy. Johnny, and that hasn't happened, so I'm not giving anything away. But immediately I just thought of the comedic possibilities. And there is, once you get to series 6 and 7 and things like that, you know, you worry about, from, I suppose, from a writer's point of view, they've not said that, but, you know, I was observing it. How many times can Cathy come in and ruin it by you know, do people get tired of that, or do they not? Or what journey are you going to take Cathy on? You know, it may well be that she would have gone to an ashram and come back really centred and never drink and lecture other people on drink. There are possibilities there, but the possibilities for the writers and for Johnny and the series have proved, I mean, really quite amazing, actually.
I mean, the show just gets better and better, and series 5 for me was just proof of that. But Elaine, you know I love your one-liners as Christine. And there was one in the last episode of the last series where Colin and Cathy's friends had come to visit from holiday. And everybody was eating Italian food, and Christine was kind of not enjoying it. And when she asked Eric, why are we eating all this Italian food? He said they've just come back from Italy. And I think she says, you know, when I come back from Blackpool, I don't serve that fucking candy floss to everybody that walks in the room.
Yeah, and
the writing is top notch.
Yeah. Sorry?
I was just saying the writing is top notch. And I think the new series is the best yet.
I do.
I really think the writing on it is absolutely superb.
It's interesting because in series 5, it was really difficult. I mean, I think there's brilliant, and it's all of a standard. But I think given the difficulties of shutting down, we shut down twice for COVID, Joy had her baby, that we didn't get Doon Girls' Night until 6 months after we'd finished. Yeah. The editing process, I think, was really difficult, all that. So I'm not that I watched it a lot, but I think it was probably more difficult to write and a wee bit bittier. You know, so, and you'll always get episodes that are standouts and ones that are just good. But I personally think this series, I agree with Alec that this series, the level of writing. I mean, I've got some lines that I still quote. The one from the Australia episode where the girls are going to Australia and Johnny comes. There's lines that still make me laugh when I think about saying to them. And Christine tries to compare them doing a 17-hour flight to Australia with the fact that she's been thinking of having a holiday herself. And Gordon says, "Where to?" And she says, "Hadrian's Wall." And that, it still makes me laugh. And he says, "Oh, that'll be nice." And she says, "Well, there is the option of adding on a 2-night stay in Carlisle, but I don't think I could cope with a city break at my age." And for me, the thought of being overwhelmed by Carlisle is just such a fantastic piece of writing, you know. So, and also in the first episode, Christine coming in and what she says to Colin, to get him to spill the beans as to what's happened. I won't give it away, but those lines are hilarious, really funny.
Yeah. I've got to say, the genius with the writing of the show is it leaves you, when you finish watching an episode, you start to think of the characters like you know them. And especially for Christine, I've always thought, what was Sophie's dad like? So Christine's ex. And I think
we've all wondered that.
I would love to. I thought maybe they could bring someone like Gregor Fisher in to play for a guest episode or something, because it's such a, you think, what was he like? What's the chemistry between them like? And Christine being Christine, you could just, it's the looks that Christine gives that in a scene just makes you laugh. It's the slight kind of raise of an eyebrow. And do you think that would ever happen, bringing in Christine's ex?
I don't think we could ever afford Gregor to come in more than anything. And I don't think he'd come in for one episode. I mean, he lives in France and all that anyway, but there was talk at one point of somebody like Peter Kay being her husband, and why that he's gone. Or there is talk that he may actually be buried under the patio at the back garden.
And that's your real husband.
I don't know, maybe the guys will have more of an in on that as to who would my husband be, you know, and what would he be like, or whether Sophie isn't actually, there might be a storyline that Sophie isn't actually mine, but she's adopted. Wow. Or, you know, there's endless possibilities that only the writers know.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see the possibilities. And one thing with Eric, I mean, Eric's just the nicest guy that you could possibly meet. He just wants to live a quiet life. But we've seen in the last series that he started to speak out and actually defend himself and say it as it is. So are you liking that Beth and Eric are kind of having more of a say now and kind of telling Cathy, Colin,
well, I think it's always been there. I mean, you know, Eric is pretty easygoing generally, very easygoing. But what I love is every now and again the worm turns, you know, and he just suddenly explodes and says, "Right, get everybody out, I've had enough." And of course, he never learns anything, because next episode they're back in again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing about sitcoms. Nobody ever learns anything. If it was me.
In the Beth's flu episode, you know, Jamie standing up like that, in that way, you can feel there's almost like a relief for the audience that he defends his dad and he defends his mum, and there's always a laugh in there, but I can see Eric's looks are fantastic about Christine. I mean, there is such a loathing between the two of them.
It's not, I don't think it's as simple as that. I mean, it's a kind of love-hate thing, isn't it? Because you've got to find a balance. You've got to find the truth of the thing. And if you go too far, people go, "No, wait a minute. You know, if he hated her that much, he'd never let her in the house." So you've got to find that balance between, you know, oh God, I've got to put up with her because she's our neighbour. She's not going to go away. So you have to make the best of it. You know what I mean? And he copes.
Yes, he does go, and underneath, I think there. I mean, this is me going too deep, but there may be a lesbian subplot between Christine and Beth. that Christine secretly think she would look after Beth better than Eric does.
How did you know that was? How did you know that was Eric's fantasy?
That's your fantasy.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant.
But there's a bit of my mum and Christine that has got that. Always had that. Once her and my dad split up after 35 years, my mum had a real intolerance for men. So I play that sort of what an idiot. My mother would say things like, oh, I wouldn't see him in my roads. Do you know that? Sort of a throwaway about men. And you tolerate them, but they're really ridiculous creatures. Actually, that is what I think. No. but that, you channel that in there. So, but it's hard because I actually adore Alec and adore Johnny, and so therefore it's just great acting, I suppose, but to play that antithesis of that, you know, that means we can have fun. So there is a liking underneath it all. And ironically, Christine, Eric and Colin do, when it comes to food, they agree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's
when it comes to eating or drinking or the weird opinions about things. You know, Christine and Colin will agree on other things. You'll see Eric go, that's fair enough. You know, so the madness is in all of that, I think.
Yeah, there's certainly common ground in the food department.
There is.
Yes.
Well, we do that anyway. We do that all the time anyway.
We do in real life, yeah.
Can I say, not me, but those two are, I've never heard two people be able to talk about food as much as the two of them. What they're having for the tea, what they had for the breakfast, what they had for the tea last night, what's for lunch, who's got the menu for the catering. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I'm going to record it.
That's my job, announcing what the lunch menu is.
Yes,
right.
Johnny does that every day. He goes and gets the lunch.
But I'll tell you, you'll be laughing in the other side of your face when we get a spin-off series where the two of us run a wee restaurant together.
That'll be it.
Listen, well, Christine, of course, would come to the restaurant.
Of course.
Oh, no.
Anything.
And cause trouble.
I've got to say, in regards to Eric and Christine, I find a lot of the best one-liners from you both are about each other's characters. I remember there was a scene where it's Eric and Christine, and they're talking about hidden talents. And Eric said, oh, Christine does magic. And she goes, do I? She goes, yeah, every time you come around ours, all our food and drink disappear. And it was such a witty line. And then Christine, I remember the line where you're talking about what you wanted to be as a kid. And
the astronaut line, I love that.
He goes, growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut. And Christine goes, fuck me, the rocket would never have got off the ground. And it was so, I rewind that every time. It's great stuff,
isn't it? Because it's so fresh. There's no cliches, there's no stale lines. Everyone's a winner.
And doing those sort of things, they're not in a cruel way. Christine gets to say what other people think as well. And they're not direct right in his face. There's a way of doing that you could do that line straight to Eric going, Christ, I'd never have to, that way.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're directed and they catch it with me saying it out the side of my mouth is what's funny and makes it, rather than it being aggressive and she says inappropriate things with a sort of innocence about it as well, that some of them are not, but other things that we have. I remember the line about the gay wedding when I'd said to them, oh, that's right, when the boys were saying we're going to our friends Morgan and Lynn who are getting married, and I say, oh, that's right, you can do that now. I'm going to a wedding myself, and so are you? And I says, oh yeah, but a proper one. Just that straight into that, all her prejudices, but it reflects everybody else's as well,
Well, I know Jonathan's not going to like this because he's unfortunately going to be first, but we've got 5 questions about Colin, and we're going to see how, because Jonathan, unfortunately, last time you did come bottom of the quizzes. So we're going to see how much you know. So the first one is, where did Colin and Cathy go on holiday where they met their friends who appeared in series 5?
They went to Sorrento.
What did Colin steal the night of the car alarm went off?
Rolls.
Wow. What did... Oh, this one you got wrong previously, which I was surprised. So I'm going to give you another chance. What was Colin's dad called?
Willie.
Yes, he got it this time.
Well done.
Who pumped Colin in the face in series 5?
Kieran.
Yeah, Gordon. It was such a funny scene. You didn't expect that to happen. And the last one for you is, what was Colin and Eric playing on the night that he was hit with a baseball bat?
We were playing swing ball.
5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go over to Elaine, because you were so funny last time with the quiz. It was the look of concentration that you had. So here's
every answer wrong.
The first one for you is, what did Christine bring for Beth when she had flu?
Soup.
From the good ham bone.
From the good ham bone.
Number 2. This is really difficult for a question. How much money did Christine win on her PPI victory?
PPI. I remember that. Was it 7,000?
It was 6,400.
Oh.
And it was the Facebook status that Christine posted. It was that was so funny. In Party Pieces, what was Christine's hidden talent?
And what was my talent?
It was so funny. It was, so everybody had to do something like a skill, and you had a specific one that was yours.
Oh God, I must no.
I'll give you a clue. It was a tongue twister.
Oh, well, there was round bag. Rascal ran. There's that one, and then I got caught up in it all the way through. So it was a tongue twister, and I got a bit dizzy by the end of it.
It was so funny. She got faster and faster, and everybody was telling you to slow down.
I tried doing that in that room with those guys when I was doing it. How many takes did I do of that, guys? 100.
At least.
So funny.
The next one.
That and Delaney's donkey.
Oh, I love that one. That was the Christmas special.
Now Delaney had the donkey that everyone admired. Temporarily lazy and permanently tired. Right, anyway, that's enough. Sum that enough.
Name some of the TV shows that Christine was shouting into the remote control at Alan and Michelle's.
That's one of my favourite bits.
Lorraine was one. Bargain Hunt.
Yes.
That's
another. Lorraine, Bargain Hunt, and I can't remember it. There's 2 of them.
There's one more, was Rogue Traders.
Oh, Rogue Traders!
It was just so genius that she's shouting in.
I'm shouting into the thing. It's not working. I know. With the eye patch. That's one of my favourite episodes. I love the eye patch. And the fact that it could have been much worse if I'd been reading my take a break, you know.
Well, you got one more now, and this will put you on 4 points, which will be very good. 4 out of 5. What was the name of the nurse that looked after Christine when she went into hospital?
Oh, I can see her. Gemma's the actress. What was her name? That's terrible. I can remember the actress and everything. I've decided I'll leave all I can't remember her name. Is it?
I mean, Colin said she was a good-looking lassie, but her name was Heather.
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 I could remember that.
Now let's see how much.
Only 3 for me. Only 3.
Let's see how much you know about Eric. This is going to be good. Now we'll see how well you do. Oh no.
Yes.
Do you know, this is an easy one for you because we've just discussed it. What did Eric say he wanted to be growing up?
Oh, come on. That's a clue you got. Stewart's inquiry.
Would that be an astronaut?
That's correct.
Elaine's off. She's off.
We've got to walk out. The next one. This is one of my favourite scenes. In a family portrait, why was there a sticker of Ali McCoist on the frame?
Because Eric was wearing a kilt and you could see up it and you could see his left ball hanging out.
That's correct.
Very funny.
What did Eric call Colin after he cheated in a game of darts?
Oh, I remember we were talking about that when we were filming. What was it again? A cheating wee fud.
If cheating wee Fanny.
Fanny.
Don't know. He can't get that. No way.
And then, what caused Eric to get a bloody nose?
Oh, that was Christine swinging the baseball bat at me when we were in a back garden.
That's got to be one of the best episodes for me. I mean, that baseball bat from Christine was just genius.
It was. I kind of put in my Tupperware and said, I don't think this is right, you know. I remember saying that because if she, you know, you hit in the face with a baseball bat, you'll have a fractured skull. Can we not make it a frying pan or something? But they were insistent they wanted the baseball bat.
And the last one for you was, what caused Eric to be on all fours in pain?
Oh,
He'd had a little polyp removed from his jacksie, from up his fundament, and there'd been a slip up, and he'd been cut on the inside. I'm trying to be.
You did very well there. You were very diplomatic. Yes. You got 4.5. But the next questions that we've got now are for all of you, and it's not a quiz on your characters. It's actually just about behind the scenes. So we've got 10 questions.
Okay.
So who makes everyone laugh the most whilst filming?
Oh, I think we all chip in for that.
I've seen some of the outtakes on the BBC iPlayer.
I think, to be fair, if you mean who corpses the most, I think that's me.
Yeah. You unanimously agree.
Unanimously.
I think that my corpsing, because I've got two pals with me, makes them laugh. But could I also say that Alex Norton, it comes over as Mr. Nice, I'm Eric. He is terrible for making you laugh. He's got a real glint in his eye, and he'll say wee things to you, and that he knows exactly what will set me off, and that's me. And also, if Johnny's doing something, and there's something we find funny, and the lines are very funny at times, we'll just go. And Johnny always reminds me of Muttley and Dastardly and Muttley. His wee shoulders going, he goes. So I would say I probably laugh the most on the set.
No, I tell you, see Elaine, when she goes, she becomes. It's like you're looking at her, the image of her when she's about 8. She becomes like a speaker.
That's
and
right.
Honestly, it cries. And the other thing that she's terrible for.
What?
If you have a slight
hiccup.
Slip up or a hiccup with a line, she'll just do a wee raised eyebrow. That's me, I'm gone. I'm away.
I do it because there's certain actors I wouldn't do it with because they wouldn't get the line right anyway. But it's particularly great with Johnny and Alec because they're both so on point with their lines. Much more than me. They're brilliant, really precise. So the joy of them slipping up for me is just fantastic. But also,
what was the one that got you really going? Was you don't want to give away too much, but the Israel. That's what I was going to say.
Oh,
we got off the set. What were we like? Johnny and I were helpless.
They had to leave the set.
And you do the scenes loads and loads and loads of times to get all those little looks. So by the time you get to 6 o'clock, you've been saying the line since 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't know whether it's New York or New Year. And Alec, who's always on point, and he had a whole thing where you say a line that just a line out of the way where you say, oh, whereabouts was it? And he had to say, someone said Sharm el Sheikh, and he had to say Egypt. Now he must have said it perfectly 46 times. And then we get to it, doing it in the scene, it comes to him, and they say, Sharm el Sheikh, where's that? And he said, Israel. Wow.
I didn't even know I'd said it.
Because he didn't even know he'd said it, which was even, and it was like, I was like, what are they laughing at?
That's brilliant.
Oh, that was the madness of it. And I had to get up and go out because and all the crew, everything exploded. But the great thing was Alec didn't know he'd done it. So he did.
Which made it even funnier because I had this blank look in my face thinking, what the hell's going on? What's happened?
Oh, God.
The next one they want to know is who forgets their lines the most?
We're sworn to silence on that.
Yes, we're sworn to silence.
Can't answer that question.
I'm assuming possibly Elaine, just on the reaction that we had
on
screen.
Out of the three of us? No, you mean out of the three of us?
Yeah.
Not the cast.
We would like to know the cast, but because they're not here, I'd say maybe
no,
just
we can't.
out of the three of you.
We're sworn to silence. We can't talk about anybody who's not here. Out of the three of us, I think it's probably me because I've got hundreds of lines.
But
I think you guys are really, really on point, much more, and also my lines get changed a lot. Simon will come in and hear how it's said and then say, so I tend not, I'm very aware that there are certain things that Simon will hear it and then go, maybe do this or not a lot, but occasionally. And you're learning one episode straight after the other. I was in the 7 episodes, big speeches, big scenes. So I would say I probably forget my lines more than the boys do.
No, you do. I think out of us all, Simon does tweak your things more at the last minute. So, but I think out of the three of us, we're all pretty solid in our lines. So
yeah. We do.
We're solid, but you guys are brilliant. You guys are always like so to get to the point where I actually don't like you very much.
This one will be interesting. Who is the biggest pranker on set?
Well, there's really not much pranking goes on because we're too scared to do it like that. We get around. No, there's not much faffing about in that respect that I can think of.
No, it's not a thing that we do because the schedule is so tight.
Yeah,
there's so much to get through that we can't afford to sort of mess around too much. So
if you start pissing about with this, it is actually, they say that, comedy, it's a hard business and to get it right. And also because there are so many laughs in the script and so many daft things when we're having to eat food and sit at tables and move and all those sort of things occur, and I always think that is much funnier. Pranks never really make me laugh.
Yeah.
No.
It always seems you'd maybe do it if you were doing a really big drama that was terrible. You'd maybe do it to wind people up or whatever. But pranks always seem a wee bit flat to me. I think we're funnier than pranks.
Who swears the most in real life? I mean, I hope it's Elaine because we had a whole section in our last interview, and I really feel with Christine, it's always the right balance, and it's just at the right time, the way she does it. So I'd love it if it was you in real life.
I think it is me in real life. I think
you're very polite.
I think it's a tough competition to be who's the sweariest. I'm a bit sweary.
I think we're if you've got any decent time, and I don't swear all the time, and I do appropriate swearing. But you know, in my stand-up show, and I do 2 hours of my stand-up, and I maybe swear twice in the whole thing. So, but in real life, I probably swear more than I should.
Could you give us a little taste of Christine, or just one of her moments, just for the people watching? Because last time you did it, everybody was commenting on it, and just it made their day.
Well, God, guys, help me out. What's there's lines that I love saying, and it is, well, there is one in one of the episodes coming up, which I love doing it. I suppose it's good. Everybody's going to see it after next week anyway. And it's when I ask the girls who are going to Australia, and I say, "What is that?" And that's a long flight. That is it not? I mean, what is that? 10, 12 hours? And they go 17. And because he says, 17? That'll fucking destroy you. Which I loved saying that line. That'll fucking destroy you. And not even aware, and Christy. And then she goes on to talk, you know, in normal conversation. But that was a joyous one to do.
It's so special just seeing the chemistry that you all have in real life. And you know, I'm not just saying it because you're on the show, and I've been keeping in touch with Jonathan since I last interviewed him, and you're honestly the nicest group of people that you could speak to. Kind, caring, and it's so different to the characters. It's nice, and I wanted to make sure people know that, because Jonathan was so nice and helped setting this up.
Well, the three of us have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's safe to say we have a great respect for each other.
Yeah.
And I think that shows, you know, there's no egos to the fore. There's no battles, none of that stuff, you know. We all go on very well.
I can genuinely say I love them both. You know, they're just, Johnny and I were at drama school together. Alex, I first met, you know, I first saw when I was a young actor, and because he's so much older than me, but
that's sad but true.
But there's a huge respect for each other's work, and and an understanding of how difficult it is over a period of 40, 50 years to keep a career going. And there are many people I've known every bit as long, but I don't feel the same way as I do about Alec and Johnny. But I think you appreciate it more. You appreciate the work and the joy and the laughter in it, because if that isn't there, I don't want to be doing the show. Yeah, you know, that's my thing. If it was a horrible atmosphere to work in, then I'm just at that stage now, just going, nah, don't want to be in that room for that length of time. No. Don't know how the boys feel, but
no, you're absolutely right. But that's the great thing about doing the job. You look forward to getting into your work in the morning, and and I love it when Alex and I usually travel in together, and I love it when the minivan pulls up and we can discuss what we had for dinner last night.
Exactly.
I can't wait.
Basically, for me,
I had a Thai curry last night, by the way, just to interrupt you. And I made it myself. It's a green Thai seafood curry.
Shut up! Basically, could I say, for me, it's like caring the community when I've got the two. when I see them getting out the bus, I think, oh, here we go. Do
you know, I've got to say to Jonathan, it came up on YouTube, and it's one of the funniest things I've seen. You know, the postcode lottery advert, it was a spoof that you had done of the postcode lottery, and you knock on the door and they go, postcode lottery, wow, and you go, no pal, you're being evicted. Do you remember filming that?
Yes,
it's so funny.
Vaguely. It was a few years ago. It was I think it's for Only an Excuse.
Only an Excuse, yeah.
But yeah, the thing that was to surprise me about that, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I didn't think it was all that funny. And then when I saw it, I thought, oh no, that actually works quite well. So it gave me complete, what do I know, complete surprise.
Listen, it was ever the case. I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone, I'm not sure that'll work. No, it ends up, Alec will remind, when the Steamy, which is a sort of, you know, seminal work here in Scotland for women, and Alec directed it. I was in it, blah blah blah, and I remember reading that and thinking, there's a bit in it where Dolly, my character, was on the telephone, and she's pretending she's on the telephone, and I remember reading it going, oh, that'll never work. And there's another section in it about Galloway's mince, and I remember reading it going, oh, that's far too long, they'll need to cut that. And of course they were like the two set pieces of the show, and so you know, it is that old adage, nobody knows nothing.
Well, I just want to thank you, because honestly, you know, I'm a huge fan of the show, and it really, during the time, especially with COVID and lockdown, a lot of people found Two Doors Down, and it was just such a release just to be able to sit back and laugh. And I mean, I know on Facebook there's a big fan page with over 10,000 members, so much so that on Halloween somebody dressed up as Christine and Sophie.
I saw it.
I saw that.
Oh, we saw that. I'm not on Facebook,
fantastic. It's absolutely great. That but it is, I mean, during the series, as well, we were all thrilled because a friend of mine is a writer, Andrew Hagan. He sent me a tweet from Russell T Davis going, this is so brilliantly written and what a fantastic. So it was coming from areas that you didn't think. And then we found out from, I think it was Johnny that told me, one of the crew, their sister-in-law had been at the Tom Jones show in Edinburgh. And Tom had said, do you watch Two Doors Down? And my claim to fame was that he said, everybody knows a Christine. I was like, yes. Yeah, and he said, and it was his pick of in Radio Times or something, he sent on that it was, what are you watching? So I'm planning on going in The Voice as
with Delaney's donkey.
His turns.
Delaney's donkey, that's brilliant.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to do. Now Delaney had the donkey. Let's see what Will I Am makes of that.
Honestly, it's just fantastic. And one thing I've noticed with the show is every time you watch it, it doesn't matter if you've watched the episode 20 times, you find something different that you didn't see before, and it's genius. So thank you so much.
Good writing. Good writing.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you. Well done. You're so much better with the quiz. I'm really, really impressed.
Johnny, he got easier questions, Lewis.
I did. It was rigged.
Right. That was obviously because he's been helping you set this up.
Jonathan has brought back memories by doing that pose to the episode where he had the gym top on, trying to impress Michelle and doing the setup.
Funny.
That was another day.
I had to put on weight for that. Have extra.
No, thank you so much for taking time out today and joining us.
Not at all. Lovely.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And good luck with the new series.
See you tomorrow, Johnny.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.